Hello ladies and gentlemen, today is July 17th, 2013, and this is likely going to be my last regular video. I was thinking about getting up and regular and doing this more, but I've spent a lot of time looking back on what I've done here and my agreement with, God, if you want to call it that. I certainly do. About making sure that I did that selfish thing and that I did not remain silent in the face of this evil. That no one will accuse me of not speaking out and sounding the alarm as a watchman on a tower. And some of you have pegged that pretty well, because that's exactly how it's been, really. But there comes a time, and especially here on YouTube, where the benefit of this, both to myself, to the cause of truth and liberty, and for you, the benefit to you begins to diminish. And we're at that point because we are at the point now where, and many of you are right about this, where talk is not going to do it anymore. Those who are awake are pretty much going to be there, and those who are not will refuse to wake up. And I have a special article that I'm going to refer to that is one of the reasons why I've decided to make this decision. So, this country that we had, which was supposed to be the Democratic Republic of the United States of America, has turned into the fascist state of America, and it is the evil empire in the world that is doing the exact opposite to what it should be doing as far as introducing liberty, freedom, and the principles upon which we have depended for so long. Again, not that we were perfect. We've had corrupt rulers who got in and have twisted the purposes of our country, what they should have been. And a lot of that has to do with lawyers and of course these evil politicians. You may remember that Shakespeare said, he held lawyers in such contempt that he said in one of his plays, first thing we do is kill all the lawyers. So all of you who are lawyers out there, it's nothing personal against you. Some lawyers are necessary, but those who get into the political system and twist the laws and make them say things which they were not intended to say, or to take advantage of the fatherless, the widows, the orphans, the poor, that kind of thing, it's wrong. Especially when we twist the principles of liberty into what this behemoth, this Leviathan has become. So as you can say or see, I made this agreement with God and myself and with others that I would not remain silent. And I said I would do certain things. And as I look over it, I have done all of those things. YouTube is limited in its usefulness, and I've used it to its capacity for my abilities at this point. And I've realized that we've entered into a new day now. All of the warnings that we've been talking about, even though specific incidents or disasters may not have happened, the actual movement to the final closing door on liberty by this tyranny has occurred. And so, at this point we have to change our venue. We have to move more into the sphere of action. That doesn't mean public action necessarily, and I'll get to that in a minute. But now, the time for talk is over. There's a scripture that says, the Spirit of God will not always strive with man. There comes a point where talk just doesn't do any good because, as I said, those who are awake are, those who aren't probably will never be. You're either, moral and believe in liberty, or you're not. This whole, Martin Zimmerman thing is a good example of how, a bad thing has been turned into something even worse for political purposes to accomplish, the slavery and the takeover even more of the people of the United States. And they're freely giving into it, so many of them. For instance, one was, and I'm going to read this here if you'll pardon me. It's from a professor of sociology at Georgetown University. Some of you may know it. His name is Michael Eric Dyson. He's a black man, of course, directly opposite to what Dr. Benjamin Carson would be like, And this is where I'm going with this. I want to read what he said. and show you how we have lost our reason in this country. It's all about, me, and about dissent and about division and those types of things. He said, America will not understand racism, not until and unless the number of white kids die that approximate the number of blacks and other kids who die, then America will see. Wow. The height of irresponsibility and true racism. That's what that is. What he apparently does not know, or it refuses to say, even as a professor of sociology, and that's why I tout so many of these, these advanced degrees. More blacks are killed by their own race than are killed by anybody else. And is racism really, involved when white kids die or black kids die? Certainly not in the Zimmerman case. Racism was not the issue. And they've tried to make it into that. And the establishment wants the same thing, as I said, for destabilization of the United States. So we are having a loss of reason, integrity, responsibility, and certainly spirituality. Now, what was one of the things that brought me to this conclusion that, it's really time to move on to another venue, to another realm of action? Well, most of you might know an individual by the name of Mike Adams. He is the president of Natural News, and he came out with an article the other day, and I've got it here in front of me on my computer, and I'd like to read just